Wait a minute, excuse me.
Baruch Hashem, that's a good problem that we have no room anymore.
Isn't that a good one?
No, it's a lot more to that.
Okay, good morning, everybody. As we go to go back to this book, we're holding, I believe, I don't know, you have the paper there?
Came to the heart.
You have that paper there?
Trust.
This is a second, I just need to find a place. I have the book. If you have the book, we're holding on page 76.
Yeah, but I don't bring my book. It's so nice and white.
Oh, yeah?
I know, I do have.
Human
another
effort,
one,
okay.
but you know what I think? I think
Okay,
that
so only
it's not
79.
really,
So what page on the?
Trust me, it's fine with me.
It doesn't line up.
This is very,
This is the original author.
I got
but it
11.
doesn't
It's the
line up
last
with that
place I
page.
wrote anything.
They're different. It's
No,
different.
11?
Yeah.
Says
this is-
human
this is
effort.
the
Human
original.
effort, right.
Yeah.
I don't know, we do that too.
Okay, so we continue in this beautiful book, in the book of Betachin, which is really a fascinating book to learn and to try to strengthen our Betachin in the Eibishter, to strengthen our Betachin in God. So he completed the previous statement is that he said the fourth thing is that the concept of our service to God. Self-understood that if we want to have Betachin in the Eibishter, if we want to have trust in God, then we have to it goes both ways. The expression in the Mishnah, it says, do your will, do his will like you do your will. I say it saying naik, it's saying cha. I say it saying naik, it's saying cha. Make his will be your will. If you want a relationship, if you want a true relationship, a trust relationship between two parties, every person needs to put the trust in each other and fulfill each other's will. If I fill each other's desires, I want God to fulfill my desires. I trust that He has the capability, He has the will, He has the desire to fill my desires. So then I should try my best to try to fulfill somebody else, to try to fulfill God's desire. Now, you emphasize that Ebb actually, because it's hard through his wording, many interpretations in his wording itself, but the Rebbe says we can see from his wording that it's even when we're not holding totally in the situation where we should be holding. Yeah?
We didn't see you last week, and I'm a little
bit.
Can we just read the first four, just the words of the first four?
I'm going to go back all the pages.
No, just the, it's been a while. No? All right.
So we start over again?
Sorry.
Let's start from the beginning.
In the beginning, God made the heaven.
Whatever you want. I'm here.
I remember the beginning.
It's my job. So I'm trying giving you a little recap of what we said 2 weeks ago. I wasn't here last week, but the concept is that a year the Able should trust. That's what we say every morning in our morning prayer. We say, I think that every asked to set a story Friday night that they never heard the story before. Rabbi Kabbalah said the story. He said that the Rebbe they asked the Rebbe's mother, what was the most what was that word? Favorite prayer, his favorite prayer. What was the Babich Rebbe's favorite prayer? And his mother said he would ask the Rebbe what is his favorite prayer, and he said his favorite prayer was the Maidani. Maidani lefanecha shechazayta bi nishmasi, that the Rabba and Munasecha, how great is the Abish's trust in us. The Abish to God has unbelievable trust in us that we're gonna do what he. We have a famous couch. All those that need help sit on the couch. Oh, you can go around with it. Okay. So, Rabba and Munasecha, that means that the Eibishter God has unbelievable trust in us. The Eibishter trusts us. He knows that he's bringing us back to our neshama to the world, and he hopes that we're gonna do what we're supposed to do. And the Eibishter trusts us. So if the Eibishter trusts us, we should trust in HaKadosh Baruch Hu, which goes both ways. There's a backwards and forward situation. So now he says the human effort. The fifth introduction addresses why it's in contracts to animals whose needs are readily available for them. A person is required to make great effort. And this is an interesting concept. An interesting concept in Chassidus also. The aspect of Avodas Ha'adam, the concept of service of man, the service of man. The oh wow, be careful. Watch out. Danger is coming by.
I got it.
What is going on?
I'm getting a chair. I got it.
This
Yeah,
is
this is so.
out of
Feel
control.
the seat out from under you.
Yeah.
Oh, right there.
Guys, we're on Facebook. You gotta behave.
Oh.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
He didn't need those feet.
Yeah. Why not?
Now you know.
There's a chair.
Okay, good. That's good. You see that divine providence.
Where were we holding?
My entrance, my
Oh, your
granddad.
granddad.
Chapter 3. I'm not sure.
But then you look.
Excuse me on Facebook. I don't know. Yeah. I'm not sure, but they're very different translations of it. The Rebbe writes there in Ayom Yom, the Rebbe writes that some tzedek instructs his tutors, all his tutors of his young grandchildren, that in addition to regular study, they should teach a simple meaning of their prayers. Once a month, no, sorry, wrong one.
That's the right one for today.
No, I know it's not the one I wanted to say. That was not the one I wanted to say. Okay, forget it, guys.
Why?
Because it's not the right one I wanted to say. And I can't find the right one I wanted to say. All right.
Neither can I.
Was this Friday? Okay, yeah. Okay, so this is on Friday, the Yom Yom on Friday. Know your God, your Father, and serve Him with a whole heart. Every sort of Torah knowledge and comprehension, even the most profound, must be expressed in avodah. Avodah means service, meaning an intellectual attainment must bring about an actual refinement and improvement of character traits, and must be translated in deep-rooted attachment to God, all which is what Chassidus calls avodah. So, a deep-rooted inner attachment to God, when a person works hard on his connection to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, on his betachon b'dei Eibishter, that's called avodah. That's called service. That's something that doesn't come easily to a human being. So the Eibishter created everything in the world. He created animals. He created a human being too. We find the difference in a human being and animals is that everything is there ready for animals to eat. They don't need to cook their food. They don't need to process their food. They process their food within themselves. A human being, even when it comes to his food, he needs to work hard to find it, to acquire his food. He has to process the food. He has to grind the food. He has to cook the food. He has to whatever. He has to bake the food. It's a lot of service. The 39 malachas on Shabbos is all the work connected to making a piece of bread. How do you make a piece of bread? How much work needs to go in to make a lechem, a piece of bread, from the time of planting to the time of eating? 39 malachas, there are 39 works that need to be done to acquire this piece of bread. It doesn't come that easy to eat a piece of bread. You can't just go into the field and munch on the hay. It doesn't work. Even though we're called a nefesh habahamis, we're called an animalistic soul. A behemoth walks into the field and he grazes on the grass, and that's it. He grazes on the hay. Easy. A human being is not created that way. A human being was not created that way. The question is, why was the human being created that way? Why couldn't it be like an animal? If like we're animals, we're just different species in animals. So why did we need to go through this whole avodah? Why do we need to go through this whole concept? So he says over here, the fifth introduction, that a person should clearly see that the completion of all matters that come into this world after its creation come to be in two ways. one of the manners in him, they come to be solely due to the decrees of the Creator. May he be exalted. And due to the desire that this thing should be immediately come into existence. Second manner which they come through is through various means, intermediaries. Some of those intermediaries are immediate, some of them are remote, some of them are revealed, some of them are hidden, but all of them hasten to complete that which the God had decreed they should be. And the way those things should appear while God helps them accomplish this. We mentioned in the class last week, 2 weeks ago, Hanukkah, that everything comes from God. We can see God al nifleisecha, al yeshuasecha, either through God's way of the nature of the world, or through God's miracles, or through God's wonders. The Eibishter comes in the world through different avenues. It doesn't happen. The Gemara says, the Talmud says, "Ain't same chalanes." You're not allowed to rely on a miracle. You can't live on a world. You can't live in miracles. It's not the way the Eibishter wanted the world to live. It's not the way the world to live. You're just gonna sit back, and you're gonna hope, and you're gonna have betachin, and everything's gonna be wonderful. Doesn't work that way. The Eibishter wanted. The Eibishter wanted avodas Adam. God wanted the service of man. And the truth is, most of our struggles in life is not Baruch Hashem, not per se physical problems that we have. Even a lot of the physical problems that we have, our struggles are more because of our mental and the way we think of things, the way we mentally comprehend things, If we understood things different, we would have a different disposition to many things that we go through in life. And we would have a different attitude to many things that we go through in life. And therefore, if you learn Chassidus, you learn Tanya, you'll see, we started the Tanya, we're holding already in Chitas in the 7th chapter of Tanya. You're going to learn Tanya. The Alter Rebbe says the most important part of a human being is his bina, his understanding. The way he understands something. And ain't they saying Shabbos, there's no two people that understand something the same way. And everybody can look at something, and you have 10 people, and all these 10 people have a whole different meaning to what they just saw, whether it's good or bad. This Tuesday is Asara B'Tevis, the 10th day of Tevis. It's the most harshest fast day in the calendar officially. Right? It says that it's harder than Tisha B'Av in a way, because if Asara B'Tevis would fall on Shabbos, we would fast on Shabbos. But it never falls on Shabbos. Don't worry. So they made sure that it never falls on Shabbos. They figured out the calendar. It never falls on Shabbos. But if it would fall on Shabbos, the only time we fast on Shabbos, the fast day is Yom Kippur. Tisha B'Av we push off. If it falls on Shabbos, we push it off to Sunday. If Tiny Siesta falls on Shabbos, we push it off to Thursday, the Thursday before. So the only time we fast on Shabbos is Yom Kippur. If Yom Kippur falls on Shabbos, we fast on Shabbos. Sure, happens many times. Yeah, Yom Kippur happens many times. Happens. But if Asara B'Tevis will fall on Shabbos, we fast on Shabbos. Why? Samach Melech Bavel Yerushalayim. What happened on Asara B'Tevis? The word in the Mishnah is Samach Melech Bavel, which means that the king of Babylon, the Babylonian king, besieged. Samach Melech Bavel is the simple interpretation means besieged Yerushalayim. The Rebbe says it's interesting. The word is Samach. Samach also means to hold. So when you need a smicha, you need something to stand strong. Samach, you put something around you. Put a enforcement. Samach mela bavel Yerushalayim. Why? Because at that moment, that bubble surrounding Yerushalayim could have been a positive, it could have been a negative. If the Jews at that time would have taken it in a positive way, would be some of that bell above it strengthened Yerushalayim. The Yidden at that time took it in a negative way. So that's why you had, it means besiege Yerushalayim. That they ultimately besiege Yerushalayim. So therefore, it's up to the person. So that's why this fast day, this Tuesday, is the harshest fast day. Because the only fast day that in Pashit has two situations could have happened at that time. Two situations could have happened. It could have been a positive ending, could have been a negative ending. It was a negative ending. Ultimately brought about that they broke into Yerushalayim on the 17th day of Tammuz, and they destroyed the Beis Hamikdash but it took 3 years, around 3 years, from the Givul Tavis, from Asar B'Tavis, from the 10th of Tavis, even though the fast day of 7th day of Tammuz is a couple of months from now, but it didn't happen in that couple of months span, right? It was besieged flying for a couple of years. And it took a couple of years. That means it took a couple of years for the Yidden to either do to tshuva or to become united. As we know, it was the opposite. That the besiege brought about a disunity and a big discord between the Jews and Yerushalayim, which ultimately brought about destruction. But it could have been a positive situation. The Eibishter, in essence, also shows a person something in life, and either he could do A or he could do B. He can take the situation and he can turn it into a positive, or he can take the situation and turn it into a negative. You can't even blame a person for turning some situations into negative. You can't even blame him, right? You could be a Monday morning, go to tell a guy you had a negative, be happy. He's a negative. It's hard to tell a person to be happy, but it's up to him. That's why it's up to the person. You can take a negative and turn it into a positive, or you can take a negative and turn it into a negative, a bigger negative. So that is the avodah. The Eibishter wanted that a human being would not see God through miracles, because we cannot live as humans through miracles, because we're human beings. The Eibishter wanted that we would live through nature, which is an interesting concept, because nature alone, you learn to see this, nature alone, you say Teva, this is nature, is a miracle. What means this is nature? This way God created it. That's the meaning of the concept of a nature. Something that happened because that's the way the Eibishter created. That's the word nature, Teva. That's its nature. Why does a lion eat sheep? Why didn't he be like a cow? Eats hay. Right. Why does he eat sheep? Because that's his nature. That's the nature of a cow, to eat sheep. I mean, to eat a lion to eat sheep, and a cow to eat hay. That's its nature. Why? That's the way the Eibishter created it. That's the way God created the lion, and that's the way God created the cow. So it's not something that you have to go to God to ask him that question ultimately. Why does a lion eat sheep, and why does a cow? Why doesn't everything eat hay? Because that's its nature. So even though we say it in that very natural way, but in truth shows that a concept that's above understanding. So it's something that's above understanding. So the Eibishter created in the world, when God created man, he said, Nasa Adam b'talmeinu kidmuseinu. Let me make man in my image. That was a very powerful statement. When God said, I'm going to create man in my image. What does that mean? There's a lot of meanings to that concept. Siddur says one of the meanings is that the Eibishter said, I'm going to create man that's going to have my choice. Nothing else in the world is going to have choice. If nothing else in the world has choice besides man, so there's only two entities in the world who create, who develop in the world. There's only two entities in the world who develop in the world, for the world. I mean, animals also build their homes, nests, and etc. But it's not for the betterment of the world. There's only two entities in the world. One is above the world and one is in the world. There's only two entities, and that is God, who creates, and a human being. David said, I'm going to create a man who's like it was created in my image. Just like I create and I develop and I make things better and I change things, and then things can be good and things can be not so good, and things need to be changed, and things in the world are created, maybe imperfect certain things that need to be brought perfection, even a human being. They wish to wanted a child, a boy should go through a circumcision. That means that he's created with something that he doesn't belong, doesn't need to be there, needs to be taken away from him, that concept. And that aspect of development, the Abish to create, because in essence in him, the Abish is a continuous concept. The Abish himself is a continuous development. He's in constant mode of development. He's never changed, but never stops. Right? The Abish, I am God, I do not change, but I am God who's nitzchias. I never stop. I never stop. I never end. So the Rebbe would always say, the Eibishter created a man, he should always grow. A human being needs to be like him, that never stops growing. Right? And that's why the neshama surely never stops growing. The neshama, the spiritual side, never stops growing. But when the Eibishter, God brought a neshama into a guf, the Eibishter wanted, he would never stop growing. As long as he's alive, he would never stop growing. And he would never be satisfied in what he has. Beautiful video last night that Rebbe on Gem, right? The Rebbe said the Eibishter created a man that what Misha Yeshtay Mana writes the Messiah. The Gemara says that God created within man. If he has 100, he automatically wants 200. And when he gets 200, he automatically wants 400. He doesn't want another 100. He wants 400. That means the Eibishter created a man like himself. God always wants more. Is God ever satisfied? Is the Eibishter ever satisfied? He's happy, but he's not satisfied. God is never satisfied. The Eibishter is never satisfied. The Rebbe was ever satisfied? He's happy. He was satisfied? How can he be satisfied?
Can I ask a question? Then why did Hashem allow the Jewish people to be in the desert for 40 years under total miracles? Because that wasn't growth, that was
Right.
miracles.
They were learning Torah every day. They were growing.
So the Chassidus says, good question, you have a good answer, true, but ultimately there was no physical growth. There was no physical growth of the Jews in the desert. Everything there was a spiritual growth, there was no physical growth. And ultimately it was a negative to them. They didn't want to leave that situation. But the Eibishter wants a yid to realize that everything that comes to a Jew, whether it's spiritual or physical, is all a ness. And that's why it says he kept them in the desert for 40 years. Because 40 years is a time of kama daita derabba. When you're 40 years, 40 is when your mind settles.
How many months does it take for a pregnancy?
No, 40 days of a conception. Pregnancy is 9 months. But 40 days, it says 40 days, 40 days before the conception, a person can pray for a different kind of outcome of the sex of a child. That's a different concept. 40, but I'm not going into number 40. But the concept of 40 years, to be able for the Yidden to have that foundation forever, that they would realize that everything that they have in life is b'derech nes, everything, and they had it pashut physically. They didn't live a normal life. Who lives a life with a rock giving water? Who lives a normal life with bread falling from heaven? You know, that's not a normal life. That's not the way things run, right? That's not the way things run. They didn't change their clothes. They didn't go to the restroom for 40 years. The Gemara says. Imagine that's not living a normal life. You're not. That's the Chassidus says. What is the meaning of that? You're not a machnes. You need a mitzi. A human being needs to be a machnes and a mitzi. You need to receive and to give. There needs to be a giving and receiving situation, not just a receiving situation. That's what the Kabbalah says. The worst thing, the worst creature in the world is a mosquito, because it does take sin. It doesn't give out. It receives. That's why he says if you go against God, you're worse than a mosquito. A mosquito that takes in and doesn't give out. That's the way he was created. But a human being that does takes in and doesn't give out, then he's worse than a mosquito because he was created not to be a mosquito. He was created to be a machtis and a mitzi. He was created to be somebody that receives and gives back. That's why your neshama is called a mashkin. It's called a mashkin. Means the Eibush gives you every day something to hold, something to protect for him. My neshama, it's a mashkin. It's a collateral. It's a mashkin. When I give you something to watch, what do you call that in English?
Something to watch.
I give you something to what? Security. So it's a security. It's a mashkin. I give you something, not that it becomes yours. My neshama doesn't belong to me. It doesn't. I don't own it. My neshama was given to me for the day to return. It should return better than hopefully that it came down. It wants to be better than it came down. It surely doesn't want to be worse than when it came down, right?
It's like a spy. It stays with you all day, then it goes up and reports.
It's more than a spy because the neshama gives you your life. The neshama gives you your life. It's more than a spy. It gives you your life. But it's interesting. The Rebbe, I said yesterday in my, I told the Rebbe, it's a long sikh of the Rebbe. Said it very short, but the Rebbe says that Yaakov Avinu, that Paro asked him how old you are, and Yaakov Avinu says that if you have a purpose in life, it's not the age doesn't count. If there's a statement of Frierdiker Rebbe said that a Jew doesn't go to the age on his passport. Yid geht nicht in the yard of a passport. A Jew doesn't go to the age of the passport. A Jew lives on his purpose in life. What was his purpose, his avodah in the world? So you ask me how old I am. The truth is I haven't fulfilled my purpose yet, so I'm still young. If I haven't fulfilled the purpose of my journey, so I'm still young yet. That means what's the difference how old I am? Doesn't make a difference if I'm 10 years old or 130 years old or 160 years old. It's what the purpose of what the Eibush gave me in my life. And if I feel my purpose in my life, then I fulfilled it. Doesn't make a difference what age a person is when he fulfills his purpose in life. And that's what Yaakov Avinu in essence answered him, that a Yid needs to have a purpose in his life. A person can find his purpose in his life when he's 7 years old. You have Rabbi Akiva at 40 years old. He found his purpose in his life at 40 years old. Took him for his 40 years of his life. He was a wandering Jew, like most of us are. So when do we find really the question is how old are you? When you found your purpose in your life. What age did you find your purpose in your life? Don't look at the vessel, but what's in the vessel. You can find an old vessel that has not even new wine in it, and you can find a new vessel that has old wine in it. So it's not the vessel, it's not the age that's important, it's not the vessel, the body that's important, it's the purpose of the body. What is the purpose of my neshama that came to the world for? What is the purpose of my body? What? What do you mean? We all know what the purpose. That's not a question to a Jewish person. What the purpose is to bring God to the world. That's the purpose of every Jew, to bring the Eibush to the world. So it's not a secret. It's not a secret.
To believe.
No, it's to do. It's to do. It's not to believe. Judaism is not a Jew concept of belief. Bitachon is not belief. Bitachon is that I trust that this is my purpose and I do what I'm supposed to do. I'm doing what a Yid is supposed to do, to live a Jewish life, to reach out, to bring God to the world. That's my purpose. Everybody needs to do that in their avodah. We all know that. That's no secret. And that takes avodah. That's why it takes. Why does it take avodah? Because the Eibush comes down into a body. But the body has many issues. Many issues. Mental issues, family issues, money issues, health issues. How many issues does this body have? And all these issues is basically there to give me a challenge not to do what I was purpose came to the world for. That's my nefesh about it. Not to do my purpose. That's it. Not he wants me to do an avera. He doesn't want me to do the purpose of my creation. That's it. He wants me to live a life that has no purpose. I'm not talking about sinning. I can live through my life without sinning and without purpose also. I can live my life without sinning, without purpose. That's what they learn in Chassidus. You have kedusha, you have holiness, you have avera, sin, and then you have the middle. That's really the whole purpose in life. The middle, the reshus, the middle, day-to-day life. I can live day-to-day life and go through years and years and years and years. And I lived a lot of years. What was those years? I don't know. What did I do with all those years? I don't know. Did a lot of things, but nothing that changed the whole elevated anything. Never did a sin, maybe. That's good. If you live life through life and don't do a sin, it's a pretty big accomplishment. But not a chassidus. It's not a good accomplishment. In chassidus and Torah, you need to do avodah. The Eibush should send you down here, not like an animal who does its purpose too. The animal does its purpose better than you because he has no choice. He does his purpose. He never sins. You want to talk about a person, an entity that never sins? A cow, a lion never sins. Doesn't make a difference. He eats every day a sheep. He never sins. He never sins. So that's it. You go to the zoo. The lion's looking at you. Looking at you. He said, I'm a tzaddik. Look at these great holy people come and look at me, right? Because the Frierdiker Rebbe said, when you're walking on the street, one day the street's going to say to you, "Why are you walking on me? Who made you? Why are you ever walking on me? I should be walking on you. Why are you walking on me? You're walking on me. I'm doing exactly what God asked me to do, and you are playing around, and you are having a good time. So you basically are not doing the purpose of your creation. Well, I am doing the purpose of my creation."
Is it fair to say that the animal soul, basically, its only purpose is survival? If you think of an animal, its only purpose is survival.
Right,
Finding
correct.
food, eating, and going on.
That's correct.
So our animal soul really is just about survival.
Survival. Is that
No
bad? That's not
accomplishment,
bad.
No purpose.
That's
other
not
than
bad.
Survival.
That's not a terrible thing.
No, survival.
Humans
Can't do anything else.
live their life to survive. We don't live to survive. The Torah says don't live to survive. Live to live. You need to live not to survive. You need to live to prosper. You need to live to build. You need to live to gain. You need to grow. You don't need to live to because you're surviving another day, another week. Oh, we survived another week. We survived another day. We survived another month. That's not considered living. That's not considered living as a human being. Yeah, it's considered living like a cow. A cow lives to survive. That's what he does, and there's nothing wrong with that. Yeah, Moshe, what do you want to say?
I don't like that analogy.
Oh, you don't like, okay.
What if you're running to do a mitzvah and the ground is saying, "What are you doing?"
No, then the ground is not saying. Because when you're running to do a mitzvah, then you're running to do something that is your purpose. So then the ground says, run on me, gesund to hate. I'm doing my purpose, and you're doing your purpose together. We're doing the purpose together. We're doing what the Eibush to create, God created us together. But a ground doesn't need to be taught its purpose. While a human being, people can still ask. A Jew can still ask, "What's my purpose?" It's not possible for a Jew to ask, "What's his purpose?" A Jew should know what his purpose is. Open a Chumash and open a Shulchan Aruch, and you'll see a purpose. It's no secret. It's not a secret. Are you okay?
I'm fine.
Okay, we have no insurance here. There's no insurance in this place. No liability.
Sit in the chair. We're the chair. Sit in the chair. Welcome aboard.
So an example of an immediate cause would be the drawing of water from the depths of the earth by the means of a pulley and a jug tied to it, that draws the water out of the well. The remote cause would be the person who ties the animal to the rope that is attached to the vessel and is moving of the animal, pulls the rope that draws the water from the depth of the well to the surface. Look at water, simple thing. That water, water is something everybody needs. Everybody lives on water. It's very, very important not to be dehydrated. But it takes effort. It takes effort to have a cup of water. That's why David HaMelech, he compares learning Torah to water. I'm a thirst for water. I'm a thirst for water. It's something that this thirst demands that I do some effort. Demands I do some effort to have this water. The Torah is compared to water, right? We learn the time. The Torah is compared to water. The Torah is compared to mazon u'mayim, to water and nourishment. Torah comes from such a high place. You think about it, Abishah gives you a zechus to learn Torah. Torah comes from such an unbelievable high place to a very low place, to a place like a human being. And we abuse it. And we take it for granted. And the truth is that you can never know Torah. No, none of us would never, ever know Torah if we're not ready to learn Torah. You can listen to speeches and drushes and you come to the Parsha of the week, it's wonderful. But if you're not going to sit down and learn Torah and put some effort in the learning, you're never going to know Torah. That's the way it is. This is the way it is. You need to break your head on the learning of Torah. It needs to challenge you. It needs to be something that you, so even though it's a gift from Hashemayim, it's a gift from heaven. It's like water that's given to you as from a gift from heaven. It's not, you're not gonna acquire it if you're not gonna work hard on it. If you're not gonna argue with it, you're not gonna struggle with it. If it's not gonna be something that's gonna challenge you, you're never gonna learn Torah. You'll go through life not learning anything. You need to toil in the learning of Torah. Yes, it needs to bother you. Torah needs to bother you. It needs to keep you up a little bit. It needs to bother you. It needs to be a question. Right? Even the Gemara many times ends up with teku. I don't know the answer. Don't know the answer. Imagine the Gemara, if they're arguing and arguing and arguing, the Gemara says teku. We have to wait for Mashiach to come to have the answer. Imagine, for 2,000 years, the Gemara is waiting for an answer. And the Gemara says, I don't know the answer. For 2,000 years, we learned the Gemara, we get stuck by the same Gemara, and we end off with the same teku. It's a good question. What's the answer? We have to wait for Mashiach to come for the answer to the questions. And that's the beauty of learning Torah. Because it's a concept that grows. It's a concept that doesn't just come into your ears and you got it. You got it. It's just there. Finished. You completed the subject. You got it. It's done. No. Then there's those causes that are between the person and the vessels and being used to draw in the water, which are intermediate causes between two matters. They are the animal, the wheels, the move each other, and the rope. If any of these aforementioned causes were ruined, the intended goal of drawing water would not come to fruition. How many issues are between the subject and the one who learns? How many issues are between, when you open up a siddur, you go daven, how many issues are there between the siddur and myself? There's the guy next to me, there's the guy in front of me, the guy behind me, there's the other 300 people in the synagogue. There's so many issues between me and the siddur that I have to get through. I have to get through.
Your own mind.
I'm talking. That's why you have outer distractions, you have inner distractions. And the Abish still wanted that. So you might say, you know what? I won't come to a show. No, that's running away from issues. That's not dealing with issues. Running away from issues is not the way the Abish still wanted. God didn't want that. The Rebbe once said to a person, he said, it's very loud in the show. The Rebbe said, You think about it. You go to the base of the whole davening is Ma'aseh Karbanis, connected to the sacrificial offerings that we bring in the temple. What do you think in the base of Mikdash, and Mitzvah is going to be rebuilt, and we're gonna go to the base of Mikdash, and the sacrificial offering was a busy place. There were cows mooing, and a lot of cutting and blood, and it was like a butcher shop. They used to imagine. I'm telling you, a lot of Jews
Did other things.
they did other things too. The Gemara says, yeah, there were a lot of things directing all around. There was a lot going on. It was a butcher shop. It was a mamish officially a butcher shop. You imagine davening in a butcher shop? No, but that's what you were davening in. So you had korbanos hanging. Imagine I don't know how Jews are gonna watch these animals. They're gonna cut it up in front of them, and all the innards, taking all the innards out, and the kishkes, and all the kaloyas, and all the
That's only in the deli.
Get ready. Mashiach's coming. Get ready. So why? Because in essence, the Eibishter wanted that through these, if you cannot see God through distractions, you're not going to see God without distractions. If you need to live in a world that only see God through this no distractions, you're never going to see the Eibishter. The Eibishter came into a world that is distractions. If the Eibishter didn't want distractions, there wouldn't be a world. The Eibishter came into a world of distractions. You learned. Tanya, the Alter Rebbe says this world is full of ra, full of distractions. It's full of distractions, and God wanted that the Zalman Book should come to the world and break through the distractions. And only I can break through the distraction, not a cow, not a cockroach. Only I can break through these distractions, and that's up to me. I can sit in the shul. There could be 5,000 people there. There could be a lot of noise, and I dive into the Eibishter, and I dive into God. And I'd be able to go, and what does that show me? That doesn't only show me that I can dive into God and handle distraction, or push away my distractions. That shows me that in general life I can push away distractions. I have the capability to put aside distractions. There's a lot of distractions in life that hold me back. Forget about my service to God, my service to another person, my service to my wife, my service to Avos Yisrael. There's a lot of distractions that are put in between. I have to be able to learn how to live life through distractions. Or actually, that they don't bother me, distractions. I'm not affected by distractions. And that's the beauty of B'tachon in general. When you have a purpose, you have less distractions. Once asked a rabbi once came to what do they call it? A circus. Many years ago, they used to still have a tight walker. That's like to see a guy walking across a tight rope is an amazing event, especially those years ago, because the guy there was no net underneath. The guy fell down. She was done. The show was over, right? Because maybe the guy was dead. So this great rabbi, asked the person, "How do you for how much you're getting paid? How much are you willing to get? How are you getting paid? A couple of kupkas to walk across? That's amazing." So he said, "You're right." He says, "This is my living, and there's a lot of distractions, right? People are screaming, and people are talking, and people are whatever making noise, and I just need to think about the pole in front of me. If I get distracted, I'm finished. I'm not going to be. I'll be gone. I'll be dead. So the pole in front of me is important." So the great rabbi, he said, "Listen, if a goy, a non-Jew, can self-control and mind over matter for a couple of cupcakes, for a couple of bucks, he can have self-control, not to lose his concentration for a couple of dollars that he's gonna get for the show, and not to lose his concentration of a pole. What about me? What about me? I'm a holy rabbi. How come I cannot control? Right? I believe That the whole davening is because whatever I daven is going to give me my life. Forget about a couple of cupcakes. I daven for my life. I learn from my life. And how many distractions am I distracted by? And I get distracted. I fall away from the distractions. More than a couple of cupcakes. But the Eibishter wanted that's a Yid should have a nefesh abahamis. A Yid should have an animalistic soul that would give him distractions. That would give him, why? Because then he'll do his avodah. A cow doesn't have distractions. A lion doesn't have distractions. Me and you have distractions. We have more distractions than anything else. We distract ourselves. Other people, I think we distract ourselves more than anybody else. And other people distract us too, but we distract our own mind, like you said before, distracts us.
Isn't that Yetzer Hara though?
What?
Yetzer Hara coming to distract us?
But the Yetzer Hara, if you learn Tanya, the Yetzer Hara is the distraction. The mind allows him in to distract. So you have to look at the Yetzer Hara, as I say many times, as outside chatter. The second you bring it in, now it becomes in your mind house. It's not outside chatter anymore. It's inside chatter.
Breaks through the wall.
Again, breaks to the wall. Right. So there's always going to be outside chatter. There'll always be outside chatter. I can take outside chatter as, wow, I'm not going to let him in outside chatter. I'm not going to allow outside chatter to come within me, right? You can have a marriage. There's always a challenge to marriage, whether it's outside people, outside entities in the world. There's always going to be. You say, oh, that's outside chatter. We have a great relationship, and I don't care what other people say. I don't care what other people think that we should do, we shouldn't do. I don't care. I live my life. We live our life. So it's outside chatter. And there'll always be outside chatter. And actually, outside chatter says that maybe that shows that how important what's happening inside, that is outside chatter. And then when I let the outside chatter, God forbid, come into the house. Right? I let the outside chatter come into my mind. And now it's an inner struggle. Now it has moved in. The Yetzer Hara has moved in. That's when the struggle really starts. When the Yetzer Hara moves in. That's why the more you learn Tanya, I think I said that before when I started. I said in Tanya, I said that the Alter Rebbe, we always deal with people. Like the Rebbe would always say when he ever met a doctor, he said it's time for doctors to stop dealing with ailments. They should deal with prevention. Right? Why deal with a patient when he's sick? He's sick already. We need to deal with the patient before he gets sick, to prevent him from getting sick. Right? So I don't want to take away your living, God forbid, because nobody should get sick. But do a living. Why can't doctors figure out a way to make a living stopping people from getting sick? They never said that to one star doctor. Let's try to do preventive medicine.
Rabbi, there are doctors like that. They're called holistic doctors. But
So, okay, very good. I'm not arguing. I think that they're good. But we need to.
But they're not always. They don't agree. The FDA doesn't agree with them.
Okay, let's not get political over here. So we have over here a holistic lady, holistic medicine. I know sitting right over here. Yeah, I'm not arguing. We need to have more preventive medicine. We need to why wait for a person to sin and now figure out how he has to do tshuva? Let's figure out a person shouldn't come to sin. Right? Let's figure out a person. So the question, where does sin come from? Why does a person sin? And you know what a person sins? Is because what he thinks. It's all in his mind. If he didn't think, if he thought differently, he never came to sin. So why deal with the sin? Let's deal with the source of sin. The source of sin is in my mind. So if I can work on my Chabad, I can work on my intellect, I can work on my seichel, I wouldn't come to sin. Forget about sinning. I would never sin. That's preventive medicine. Let's work on the source of the problem, not the problem. Say the story of the Chelem. To come to Chelem, you had to go through a mountain. And every person, they used to roll down the mountain, because there were no normal roads, right? So they came together. What do we do? So they built a hospital on the bottom of the mountain. Build the road, Chachamim. Now they built the mountain, the Chelim. They built the hospital. So everybody rode straight into the hospital. And that was a joke, Chelim is a city in Poland that they decided that everybody is not so smart in Chelim. But actually, they say the people in Chelim were extremely smart, and all the arrested people were jealous, so they made the Chelim into, fools. But then it became like a world-renowned, story of Chelim. But it's Baba Meister. But the stories, so you build a hospital on the bottom of the mountain. Build a road. And that was Alter Rebbe said, I'm building a road. Instead of building, talking about, what punishment is, like Musa, going to tell you, the Yates are going to go to Gehenna. If the guy's going to Gehenna, that's when he sinned. He sinned. So we're dealing with a guy that sinned. Now he has to go to Gehenna. Why can't we figure out a way to have people not sin and have people sin less? And how do you do that? Is by teaching them, learning with them, learning them that their seichel, that their intellect, that their mind thinks different. Because, no sin. If you're brain dead, you can't sin. Right? You can't sin. It's impossible for you to sin. It's because the way we think. It's the way we think, the way we decide things, the way we decide what a mitzvah is or what an aveda is, etc. Let's think different. That's betachin. Let's think different. And that takes aveda. It's the hardest aveda. We think that's why people think tshuva is easier. Right? Repentance is easy. You bring a cow and bite the fun. It's not so hard. I can do that. It's very easy. It's harder. It's harder. It's harder to not to do the aveda. It's harder than machshava. It's much harder than machshava. It's easy. That's why we sin. You know why? Because we know we can repent. Right? You can say that in a simple term. I insult somebody because I know I can ask for forgiveness. I don't go to the core of the issue. Why am I insulting somebody? I don't want to deal with that. I don't want to deal with it. I don't want to deal with why am I to begin with a person that does negative. No, I'll say I'm sorry. I said it last time, I'm sorry. I'll say it again, I'm sorry. And that's why you show you Malay Charata Gemara says wicked people keep on saying this sorry. Because they don't want to deal with the problem. They're dealing with the issue, not the problem. And you sin. You said it, you didn't evade it. Now, you got to clap on head, you say you're sorry, do whatever it takes to fix the situation. That's easy. That's not real. That's easy. Or we think it's easy. But that's easy. To stop the sin, to stop the machshava, to have betachan, to have emunah, to understand that is much harder. That is much harder. That's much difficult. But you know what? That way, if you change the machshava, you'll never sin. If I change my thought, I'll never sin. If I think differently, I'll never sin. Forget about the sin. Okay, how do you do that? That's a good question. That's a great question. And I believe I believe, like, listen, I'm a Chabad house, I've been here 30 years, learning with people. And, people don't realize that they changed their machshava. People don't realize that they changed the way they think, right? And trust me, people do change the way they think. People do change the way they think. Talk positive. People do change the way they think. They might not realize that they're changing the way they think. They just think it's their natural thing that they change the way they think. But when you learn with somebody and learn, you ultimately change the way you think. That's the power of Torah. Torah says if you learn Torah, because it's the chachma of the Eibishter, and the Eibishter changes somebody. Just like we get changed by God, because we are created in the image of the Eibishter. It's all interconnected, and that's why the Eibishter is one with the Torah and the one with the human being. The Eibishter is one with the Hashem Echad. If the Eibishter comes one with us through our learning, we change the way we think. You might not realize. Somebody else will tell you. You think you're changed. You're talking different. You're acting different. You're thinking different. You are doing things different. And people do that. There's no question about it. It might be small steps. It might be big steps. But people do change the way they think and the way they act. It does happen. It does happen. And that's through learning. That's through Chokhmah. That's what the Tanya says. The best way to change the way you're gonna think is through learning. And through more you learn and you become one with your learning, the more you're going to be able to slowly but surely change the way each and every one of us thinks. And each and every one of us understands things. And ultimately, the way we express it, it's going to change. No question about it. The Rebbe Rashab said that money changes the three things in the world that change a person. Money changes a person. Mashka changes a person. And Torah changes a person. Money makes a person meshuggah. Ultimately, if he has a lot of money, he's not meshuggah, give him more money. Mashka makes a person drunk. If he's not drunk, give him some more mashka. And Torah refines a person. Torah refines a person. And if you find a person learn Torah that is not refined, sure it means they need to learn more Torah. This needs, because Torah, there's no question that the more we learn Torah, and I'm not talking, I say again, because Chassidus demands that a person needs to be lomo b'Torah. The Rebbe, learning a Maimah in the mornings over here, we'll learn a Maimah, the concept of Hanukkah, the fire and the wick, that the shemen is consumed by the fire. The shemen, the oil, is consumed by the soul. Shemen is the Torah. The Torah is consumed by the flame. The Torah is consumed by our wisdom. It's consumed, it's drawn to our wisdom. Because wisdom is drawn to wisdom. The only thing it needs to do, it needs to have that the wick also to be ready to consume itself. The wick, which is the body, needs to be also be consumed.
Become brittle to ash.
Right. To be ready to. So the nature of oil, the Abishah created the nature of oil to not water, not vinegar, or not even wine. Oil, the Abishah created its nature to be ready to be consumed. Right? Oil is consumed in the fire. It's consumed in the fire, which is the fire is in the Kabbalah is the Chachma of the Abishah compared to the light of God. It's the shemen wants to be consumed by the fire. But it also needs the wick. That's the problem. The wick is the body. And the wick has to be willing to be consumed. If the wick is not willing to be consumed, then there's a struggle between the oil and the fire. The oil and the fire will not either, there won't be any fire. So the oil, the body, the shemen has to teach, the shemen needs the body. So that's the neshama needs the body. The neshama needs my body, my seichel, to be willing to be consumed. That's the question. Are we willing to be consumed? Are we willing to give in to seichel? Or it's my seichel, it's my way or the highway. Or am I willing to open my mind to wisdom? So wisdom maybe that is above me, to wisdom that is greater than me. Am I ready to do that? And that takes avodah. That's the word. It takes avodah. That takes human for the wick to be consumed. For the wick to say, I'm willing to, like the shemen, it naturally wants to be consumed. And the light also wants to be consumed to something higher. Right? Like the neshama wants to go above. But all of them need one thing. They need that wick. They need the wick. They need the wick to be able, the wick. That's the bridge. They need the wick to be able to want to be consumed. To want to be consumed. And want that the oil should be drawn into the wick and then into the fire. And by that, it's going to consume itself. It's going to burn. That's the one. That's a beautiful mind. The middle Rebbe talks about the beauty of Hanukkah.
You talked earlier about people who are very quick to say, I'm sorry.
Right.
How do you know that came from their lathe? How do you know that sorry is just not their trained response to something they know they did wrong?
Because
Is his
everybody's good. Everybody is good. Everybody's also by nature good.
So you accept everyone's apology?
You
As
should.
factual?
You should. You should. You should. You should. You
assume-
should assume that it comes from the good part of it. Even though that you know that there's always in the human nature, there's always mixture of not
Well,
totally
there's some
good.
people who just have a very quick, I'm sorry,
Yeah.
but in their heart, they really.
But that's their problem. I should accept that I'm sorry because I should be good. You heard I said, hello. You heard I said I should accept that they're sorry because I'm good. So not only because they're good, because their good might not be totally good. But the question is, I'm good. So the truth is that it goes both ways. I don't accept they don't say they're sorry with full intent, and I don't accept they're sorry with full.
Trust but verify.
No, because I'm also a mixture of good and bad. So I'm myself's not so perfect. If I was perfect, I would accept they're sorry without
Like
anything
blanket.
I would be forget and forgive. Usually we forget, we forgive, we don't forget, right? And that's not the way the Abish wants you to forgive and forget. And if you forgive and forget, then you go from your true
Then you
good.
go forward.
So it goes, it's my upon. It's both, we're both faking it. The person who's saying I'm sorry to me is faking it. The person and I'm faking it too, saying yes. Accept.
Someone told me once, fake it till you make it.
No, we say that what you said 2 minutes ago. We we accept, but we inquire. You know,
Verify.
verify. Don't verify nothing. Move on.
Accept it,
Accept it
take it
and
on
say
face
thank
value.
you and be happy and not start verifying everybody's apology because you're never gonna find a perfect apology. It's not in the world. You're asking something that's not in the world. Because we're human beings and we're mixed of Tevirah. That's what we're You're mixed of Tevirah. The second you're mixed in Tevirah,
Mhm.
there's nothing that's totally Tev. That's why
Yeah.
that's why the only Tev is is when you go to a funeral, Chesed Shalamis, Chesed Shalom. The guy
Yeah.
can't, the guy can't say thank you. The guy cannot, be nice to you because you'll be nice to him. That's a Chesed Shalom. How many of us are doing Chesed Shalom? We're doing Chesed.
Mhm.
Question is emes.
Mhm.
We're doing kindness. The question is it truth?
Right.
Is it a true kindness or there's a string attacked kindness? Conditional kindness. I'm kind to you because you're kind to me. I'm nice to you because you're nice to me. If you weren't nice to me, I don't know if I'll be so nice to you.
Mhm.
But I'm sorry, I thought you're a nice person. I'm not that nice. No, we're human beings. We're human beings. Human nature. If somebody's not nice to you, to me, it's hard for me to be nice. I'm a human being. What do you want? I should be.
Don't-
I should be not human. I mean, even in a relationship. What? If you're not nice to your wife, she's expected to be nice to you. But she should be, because she's nice. What does it do with me? She should be nice because because she's nice.
But Yosef took it to another level. Look what the brothers did to him, even though it was L'Shem Shamayim in their mind.
That could Yosef's called you a tzaddik. But that's a
but he
tzaddik.
was able to say, no.
Because he's a tzaddik.
So we
Zalman
need to
Bukit is not a
bring-
tzaddik.
We need to bring, like the book,
I agree.
Hashem into
No question.
everything that's happening in your lives. And when someone
We need to
does
consume
something, you
ourselves.
have to ask the Eibishter, what's the lesson? What do I? do?
Amen.
It's not there.
You have to be ready to consume yourself. You got to be ready to bittle. You have to be ready to Yosef. But that was
Put
Yosef.
yourself in the flame.
But that was Yosef. Yosef said that everything is min hashamayim. Yosef said, you see, that's what the expression, the Rebbe says the expression last week in the Parsha. It says, "V'yinag balechem." That the Yosef, he controlled the whole Egypt with what? With lechem, food. That's how you control Egypt, with food. That's not the way you could. And that's why
That's why
food.
you always have
Food.
Mash.
Yeah, food. Everything is about the food.
gotta have mash.
Right. So that's the one. It's all about the food. that's Egypt. That's not God. That's not a Jewish way of life. It's not vayinag balechem. You're not being controlled and being dragged down like you're in front of the animal. You put the carrot. How fast you're gonna run is how fast the carrot's gonna go. So vayinag balechem is not the way a yid should live his life. A yid has to have betochen. That's the difference between him and an animal. That takes avodah. Sure, that's natural to run after the food. That's a natural phenomenon. But to run after God is not a natural phenomenon. That takes avodah. That takes my avodah in the service of what?
It's a decision.
It's a decision.
It's a decision.
It takes work.
And then work.
But you know what? But ultimately, that's what you are. Ultimately, when you fulfilled your purpose, then you lived your life. My father would always say his famous expression: "Say everybody dies, but not everybody lives."
That's true.
Oh.
My father-in-law, God bless his name. Everybody dies, but not everybody lives, and that's the Rebbe said yesterday about what Yaakov Avinu said. What's the difference in my age? The question is, what did I accomplish my purpose in life? Did I accomplish the purpose yet or not? And until I didn't accomplish my purpose, then it doesn't make a difference how old you are. Whether you live 70, 80, 140, 150, it doesn't make a
So
difference.
that's why I think you said yesterday.
That's
why
what I
you said my days were long and
Right.
so-
You're right, because I have not accomplished the person. So that they're not good. So if I haven't, like the Rebbe would always scream, if you didn't build a Beis Hamikdash, the Gemara says, if you didn't build the Beis Hamikdash this year, you have to look like you destroyed the Beis Hamikdash. It's not that, I just didn't build it. No, you destroyed it.
You're not part of the.
If you're not, you don't. And that's a very tough thing. That's a very tough thing. It's not an easy thing. That's a very tough thing. So you have to be happy on one hand, but you have to realize that the avodah is not done, and the service, the avodah, the purpose of what God wanted in the world is not done, and we need to figure out. Everybody needs to figure out a way to make this thing a step forward.
So they're saying to live Mashiach now, to have your life connected to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, and every moment you do that, you are building the Beit HaMikdash.
Right?
You are building the potential within yourself,
That's correct.
right? And so bringing Hashem down, and that's why we're here learning.
That's it. That's why we're here, guys. Even though Marvin and Jana gave us breakfast, but we're still here because we came to learn. We came to learn. So we learned today in memory of Tzipora Bas Yeshua Manas Alevin and Shama Shav and Aliyah. So we are ambassador of goodness and kindness. And instead of saying he's the Shama Shav and Aliyah, the Shama Shav Yedid, he should come down already. He should come down to the world. Mashiach should come. Should be Tchias Amesim. And we should have the Shama here in the body. Be'ezat Hashem. God.